My name is Jim Bishop. I'm with the Yes for Chandler Students Committee. Our committee has one simple purpose and goal this year, and that is to raise community awareness and understanding for the importance and necessity of passing an override on behalf of the Chandler Unified School District this fall. Joining me here today, I also have Joel Worth. Joel is Chief Financial Officer for the district. Joel has 30 years of experience as a CPA and working school finances. Joel's main purpose here today is following my briefing. He's going to give a brief talk on property taxes. Let me be very clear on one thing. I'm not a district employee. I'm a parent. I have two school-aged children. I have a daughter who's a sophomore in high school and a son who's an 8th grader. Both of my children have been in Chandler Public Schools since they were in kindergarten. Early on, I made a very conscious and deliberate choice to take an active role in their education. So I started volunteering in the classroom. Over the years, I served several different roles in the classroom. I helped tutor kids who were struggling in math. I taught Art Masterpiece, taught Junior Achievement. When my daughter went to middle school, I joined the Site Council. 3 years ago, I was on the Citizens Bond Committee. That year, there was a successful bond passage for the district. For the past 2 years, I've been on the Citizens Budget Committee. Let me tell you a little bit about that, because it does a nice job demonstrating how Chandler is very open and transparent with its finances. Every year, when there is an override or a bond due for election, the district forms the Citizens Budget Committee. There's a series of about 5 to 8 meetings. Over these meetings, the district is very open with their finances. They go over every line of the budget and solicit input from the public. After 6 meetings this winter, the citizens of the Citizens Budget Committee voted overwhelmingly to recommend a 15% override. That's what brings me here today, in front of the Chamber of Commerce. The main goal, obviously, is earning your official endorsement for this override. But more important than that, since we have so many community leaders, so many business leaders, I would like to earn your individual support for this override measure. Now, to do that, I want us to approach it like you would a business decision. We're going to ask ourselves a series of questions. Number one, is there a need for additional financial investment in the district? Second question, is it a worthy investment? Is it a good investment? Does CUSD have a worthy business model to invest dollars in? And the third and final question we're going to ask ourselves is, what's my expected ROI, my expected return on investment? What can I expect to gain for investing more into the school district? The first question is probably going to be, what is an override? So let me get that out of the way. Arizona state law allows school districts to ask voters to increase their operating budget from up to 15%. Since 1989, Chandler Unified has been on a 10% budget override. Many districts throughout the state are currently on overrides. Where does the override money go? As the law dictates, override money must go towards the maintenance and operating cost of a district. The way to think about this in simple terms, that money goes towards the classroom. That money goes towards new programs, training for those new programs, salaries for the educators who teach in those new programs. Bond money, on the other hand, when you think bond, think B for bond, B for big, B for building. Bond money goes towards school construction or renovation of existing schools. So the way to think about it, bond money puts the school there, override money is what happens within that school. Our first question we're going to ask ourselves, is there a need for additional financial investment into the district? And the short answer is the most resounding yes. When you look at the current state of educational funding here in Arizona, it's a very stark and it's a very clear picture. Currently, Arizona is ranked 48th in the nation in education funding, 48th. If you look at the national average for per pupil funding, Arizona is 36% below the national average. It wasn't always the case. The reason we got to where we are is between 2007 and 2011, no single state in the country cut a higher percentage to education than did Arizona, had the highest percentage of cuts to education. Now, as a native of this great state of Arizona and the product of two Sun Devils, I find this very offensive, troubling. When I picture Arizona, I don't want to picture it as a bottom-tier education state, and I don't want others from outside the state to picture Arizona that way. So obviously these cuts have directly affected the district. Over the last 4 years alone, the district has cut just over $36 million from its budget. 4 years of cuts, $36 million. That's $9 million a year. It's important to note that currently Chandler is funded at a rate below the Arizona average. So once again, we have the national average, 36% below that is the state average, 11% below that is where Chandler Unified School District is funded. All these numbers come from the Arizona Auditor General report. The Arizona Auditor General also listed the level of financial stress each district is experiencing right now. And last March, March 20th, the Arizona Republic ran an article ranking the 10 East Valley districts in level of financial stress based on the findings of the Auditor General. Chandler Unified had the second highest level of financial stress. So yes, there is a need for additional financial investment into the district. Second question we need to ask ourselves, is it a worthy investment? Has it been a good user of the taxpayers' dollars? Let's start by looking at the successes of the district. The district continues to be very successful. Just 3 weeks ago, the district earned an A rating from the Arizona Department of Education. This is the third straight year the district has earned that A rating. Largest district in the state to be able to claim this. And when you look at the individual letter grades, it's extremely impressive. Every single high school here in Chandler is A rated. So what does that mean? You can look in the eye of any parent or future student and you can tell him or her that they are destined to go to an A rated high school. Very impressive claim for a city our size. And when you look even more into that, our high schools are performing so well. The Washington Post had an article ranking the most challenging high schools in America, and then they broke it down into state by state. 3 of the top 15 most challenging high schools in the state are right here in Chandler, including the top 2 in the entire Phoenix metro area. If I recall, the list broke down, the top 3 schools were Tucson schools, number 4 was Flagstaff, number 5, making it the top-ranked Phoenix metro school was Basha High, followed closely by Hamilton High, and Chandler High was number 13. Our high schools are doing great work. If you look at the 2012 Ames score for sophomores taking the Ames test, Chandler Unified sophomores placed number 1 in the state, every single category, math, reading, science, overall. Well, why is this significant? The 10th grade is the last year you are required to take the Ames test, so it represents a culmination of the education experience. So it shows that Chandler Unified they are educating our children. And also it shows one more thing. When you look at standardized tests, they almost always follow the trend of the socioeconomic status of that community. And that being said, Chandler Unified should have by all rights had about 3, maybe 4 districts test above it. And at some of the lower grades, that's what we did see. But it showed that the longer a student stays in Chandler, the better they do perform. CUSD is working. Each year, graduates from CUSD high schools earn millions in scholarship offers. The data is in for the past 2 years. Each of those years, the amount of scholarship offer money earned by the graduating class was approximately $80 million. If you divide that among every graduate, that's $25,000 in scholarship money per graduate. This goes a long ways to making the dream of college education affordable. Last year, Chandler students earned 25,000 hours of direct college credit. 25,000 hours. It's important to note, many graduates from Chandler high schools are now entering college as sophomores, in some cases with 2 complete years of college credit as they enter. The schools are doing great work. Well, what about the past? What has Chandler Unified done with past override money? Let's just name a few of the programs they've invested in. Number 1, 3 years ago, they opened up the Knox Gifted Academy. Over the past few years, they've opened up several new CTAs and converted existing neighborhood schools into CTAs. For those not familiar with the term, CTA is Chandler Traditional Academy. Been a very popular model with parents and produced very impressive results. Now, the third program I want to spend a little more time talking about, because I think it does the best job illustrating what sets Chandler apart from some of the other educational opportunities available here in the city. And that is the Chief Hill Learning Academy. Now, what the Chief Hill Learning Academy does, it takes children who have struggled. Many of these kids have had academic problems, they've had disciplinary problems. Bottom line, they're on the verge of failing out of high school. What the Chief Hill does is it takes these kids and provides them an alternative environment to earn credit towards their high school diploma at a modified rate. You see, Chandler Unified realizes it has a moral obligation to do everything in its power to do whatever it takes to provide high school diplomas for every student. And we here in society, every time we see a child or hear a child graduate from high school, we should hear that cash register sound, that cha-ching. Because as independent studies have shown, one by Northeastern University in Boston, one by University of Illinois, every time a child graduates, the cost benefit to society versus a non-graduate is $300,000. You set that child on a path to earning a 4-year degree, that number jumps to $1 million. Education is very valuable. Now you look at these 3 programs, on their own they seem very disconnected, the Knox Gifted Academy, CTAs, and Chief Hill, but we look at them as a whole. What they point out is that CUSD has a program for every child. No matter what a child's unique ability, skill, or need might be, CUSD has a program for that child. They educate every child. Now, what about plans for the future? CUSD has very bright plans for the future. The Governing Board of Directors has set forth very ambitious goals in Journey 2020. Meeting these goals is going to take money. It takes money for new programs, money to train teachers in these new programs. But once these programs are met, it will solidify Chandler Unified's legitimate claim to be not only one of the top districts in the state, one of the top districts in the country. CUSD continues to test new programs. This is the second year of existence of AMS, Accelerated Middle School. It's a middle school taught within Basha High. This is the second year of existence of Arizona College Prep being offered at the Erie campus. This is a highly accelerated high school experience. Hall Elementary is experimenting with Singapore Math. Singapore Math is kind of a new comprehensive way to look at math. Nationwide, it's met with a lot of success so far. So CUSD has a record of success. They've been wise investors of past money, and they have a plan for the future. It is a worthy investment. Now, the final question we need to ask ourselves is, what's my expected ROI? What's my expected return on investment? And let me be very clear, this does represent an added investment. CUSD is asking voters to increase their override from 10 to 15%. In real dollars, what that means to CUSD is they will receive an additional $9 to $10 million a year of budgeting. If you recall, over the last 4 years, they've cut approximately $9 million a year. So a simple way to look at the override is this just merely returns CUSD to the pre-recessionary levels of funding. But it really does so much more than that. What it does, it allows the district to formulate a long-term, sustainable financial plan, a plan where they can meet future obligations and their current obligations. And the district has identified 3 specific areas where they will use their override money. Number 1 is school safety. Chandler Unified is very proud of their record of safety, but obviously they want to make sure they're doing everything in their power to ensure the utmost in school safety. So they plan on using override money not only to enhance current safety measures, but to hire 15 additional school safety officers. The second area is the recruitment and retainment of highly outstanding and qualified teachers. When we look at all these successes of Chandler Unified, we need to realize where a lot of the credit needs to be given. It needs to be given to the teachers. CUSD has wonderful teachers that are doing the day in and day out work that are making these wonderful successes possible. This money will be used to help retain the services of those outstanding educators and help recruit new ones. Every time there's a job opening in Chandler, be it through growth or through retirement, we want to make sure that CUSD has the top pick of the educators out there. Now, the third area is classroom size. CUSD plans on using this money to maintain its current low class size or possibly even making it smaller. Every educator agrees classroom size does matter. No matter where a child is on the education spectrum, the more individual instruction they receive, the better he or she will do. What's the cost of this override? If you're a homeowner and your home's approximately 20% above the median cost, the cost of this override is less than 25 cents a day. And what do you get? What's your return on investment? You get all the stuff I talked about, all the successes of the district, help them fund their future plans, but you do more than that. You help bring business to Chandler. PayPal recently set up shop here in Chandler. One of the reasons they cited for choosing Chandler was our school system. They chose Chandler over a rival city out of state based on our high-performing schools. Whenever a business like PayPal comes to the Valley, we all benefit, all society does. It raises the tax base, brings new jobs. Everyone in the city benefits from new businesses like PayPal. The second area is property values. A strong school district helps stabilize property values. If you look at the recent real estate data, I think you'll notice that during the housing downturn, Chandler did not suffer as much as some of the surrounding communities and actually rebounded a little quicker and more robustly than did some of the surrounding areas. I think we can directly attribute the success of the school district to that fact. So once again, what's the cost of this? If you are that above average homeowner, the cost is about the same amount it takes you to fill up your tank of gas, one tank of gas, about $81 for the whole year. That's what the cost is. That tank of gas will fuel your car for 10, maybe 14 days. Funding education helps fuel the district for the future. Now, today we've talked a lot about the cost, and obviously we approached it as a business decision. But I do want to leave you with this one caution. Too often, when we fixate on the cost of something, we lose sight of the even more important question. What is its value? What is the value of education? And the answer is simply priceless. When education is done well, as it is in Chandler Unified School District, it is priceless. It has the ability to change people's lives. And that's what happens on a daily basis throughout our schools. It helps people realize their dreams, helps them plan for the future. So please, join me in saying yes for the students, Yes for the future. Yes for the override. So please support the override and support Chandler for a bright future.